I think that the presence, it can be healing for the families.
Now at 6, honoring the fallen in a procession for 2 firefighters killed in an Idaho ambush.
Plus, a jump at the pump as Washington drivers see their first gas tax increase in nearly a decade.
That's a lot, and it's definitely going to impact how often I fill up my car.
Then how Oregon and Washington are accusing the Trump administration of playing politics with personal health information.
Fireworks already to blame as officials plead with people to be more careful as we head toward the 4th of July holiday.
We ask that you...
We begin here at 6 with breaking news. Police are investigating a deadly shooting near the Central Library in downtown Portland.
Let's go right to Alma McCarty live near Southwest 10th and Yamhill with what we know so far. Alma?
Yeah, David, Christine, we know that police arrived within 10 minutes of the shooting and actually had that suspect apprehended and in custody. The man, however, who was shot went to the hospital, but unfortunately did not make it. Now, the shooting happened at around, as you said, 3:30 this afternoon at Southwest 10th and Yamhill. It is unclear at this point if the victim and the suspect, knew each other. Police say witnesses and security video helped identify that suspect. Officers chased him a few blocks away to Southwest 4th and Yamhill and took him into custody. It's worth noting that gun violence is way down in Portland this year. This is the 18th homicide this year, compared with 35 at the same time last year. Police Chief Bob Day says any death from gun violence is too much, but the city, he says, is making progress.
Our increased partnerships are making a difference, right? We have, as mentioned, ceasefire, Office of Violence Prevention. We are working more collaboratively with people with lived experience that are in that space. And so I think we're able to interdict earlier, provide options for people other than resulting to violence.
Now, the man arrested has been booked into the Multnomah County Jail. That is according to Portland police. And a heads up for people who might be driving around this area. Obviously, the spot behind me in front of the library, that is still blocked off, and we're told that TriMet service may be impacted. Christine, David, back to you.
Yeah, Alma McCarty downtown at a very active scene there. Thanks, Alma. All right, to more breaking news now, this time in Vancouver, where authorities say a man's body was recovered along I-205. Police say a transportation worker discovered the body around 2 this afternoon in the median near 50th Avenue.
At this point, officials don't know how he died or how long he'd been on the road. The initial investigation caused some traffic backups, but we understand that area has now been cleared.
Developing this evening, closing arguments have just wrapped up in the sexual assault trial of former Portland Trailblazer Ben McLemore. A warning, the details in this case are disturbing.
Kyle Aboshi is live at the Clackamas County Courthouse in Oregon City. Kyle, bring us up to speed.
Well, both prosecutors and the defense presented their closing arguments late this afternoon. In essence, the state argued the sexual encounter was rape, while the defense said it was consensual. The case is now in the hands of the jury. Former Portland Trailblazer Ben McLemore is accused of raping a woman during a Lake Oswego house party in the fall of 2021. McLemore is pleading not guilty. During trial, the woman, who was 21 at the time, testified McLemore raped her while she was incapacitated after a night of heavy drinking at the home of McLemore's teammate Robert Covington. McLemore admitted he too had been drinking, but argued the sexual encounter was consensual. McLemore testified at trial the two did not have a conversation before, during, or after the sexual encounter, and that he left the house immediately afterward. Both prosecutors and the defense made their final appeal to the jury late this afternoon.
There's absolutely no confusion in this case. When you look at all the surrounding circumstances and you assess the evidence in this case, I submit to you that the defendant is guilty.
The only reasonable verdict in a case where 2 people get drunk and have sex, and the man is drunker than the woman, the only reasonable verdict in a case like that is not guilty.
Closing arguments wrapped up about 5:30 this afternoon. The jury just started deliberations. In all likelihood, unless there's a verdict, they'll be released for the evening, then returned to continue deliberations first thing in the morning.
We'll keep our eye on what happens tomorrow. Kyle Aboshi reporting live from Oregon City. Thank you, Kyle. We also want to share this reminder. If you or someone you know is a victim of sexual assault, the National Sexual Assault Hotline is available 24 hours a day. The number is right there on your screen, 800-656-HOPE. Again, 800-656-HOPE.
In your headlines, the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students is expected to plead guilty in court tomorrow, avoiding the death penalty. That is according to multiple sources close to the case who tell KGW as part of the deal, Brian Koberger would spend the rest of his life in prison and give up his right to appeal. Now, keep in mind, Koberger could change his mind up until the last minute. Meanwhile, the father of one of the victims, Kaylee Gonzalez, says the state has, quote, failed them. He added that he doesn't believe prosecutors took family input into consideration as part of this deal. Here's what we heard from one student not connected with the case at the University of Idaho.
In my opinion, if you get life in prison, it is the same as the death penalty. I know it doesn't give people that same sense of justice knowing that they were taken off the earth, but to me, if they have to spend every waking hour in prison instead of being out in this world, that's the death penalty either way.
Just one perspective there. Stay with KGW for coverage of the Koberger plea deal. We'll have live coverage of the hearing at Boise starting at 10 a.m. Pacific on our free TV app, KGW Plus. You'll hear from those in court, and we hope to get reaction from family members immediately after.
Also in Idaho today, a procession of emergency vehicles brought the bodies of 2 slain firefighters back to Coeur d'Alene. Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Battalion Chief Frank Harwood and Coeur d'Alene Fire Department Battalion Chief John Morrison were both killed in an ambush attack over the weekend. Investigators say they were responding to a brush fire in a mountain community when a man started shooting at them. Today, people lined the streets to show their support and pay their respects.
I think that the presence, it can be healing for the families, even if just a smidge. And I just want as many people out here as possible, and there's a lot of people who are out here to support the families and all those that were involved.
A third firefighter injured in the attack, David Tisdall, remains in the hospital. Meantime, there does not appear to be a motive yet for the man accused in that attack, 20-year-old Wes Rowley. He was found dead on the mountain after the ambush. The Kootenai County Sheriff said Rowley had just moved to Idaho from California. Officials say information indicates at one point Rowley wanted to be a firefighter himself and that he did not have a criminal record.
And both Oregon and Washington have now joined a multi-state lawsuit over health information that was shared with ICE. States routinely share some personal data with the federal government as part of their Medicaid programs. But this lawsuit alleges federal health officials then shared it with Homeland Security for the purpose of immigration enforcement. It calls this an illegal breach of privacy by DHS since personal health information is being used in ways that are unrelated to Medicaid. Matt?
All right, David, thanks very much. We had another very warm, clear day, and it's still clear to the north and west. To the south and east, though, lots of clouds showing up, courtesy of thunderstorms that have been developing over the Cascades. We've cooled down to 87. Those northwest winds at 13 are now beginning to deliver a more robust supply of cooler air from the ocean into the valley. So we'll stay much cooler for the day tomorrow. But today, we hit 89, made 90 in Vancouver, still 94 in McMinnville. So it's still a very hot, or at least very warm day. 90s and upper 80s throughout the western valleys here, as you can see. Amazing storms developing over and east of the Cascades. This is a time lapse from our camera at Timberline looking south. Look how these clouds absolutely dwarf Mount Jefferson. Some of these storms growing up over 40,000 feet in elevation, a good indication of how strong they are. We've had a lot of lightning and even some hail from these storms as well. The lightning continues right now, as you can see, so we'll keep track of these and any potential new wildfire starts that may have occurred because of the lightning. But again, likely getting some hail north of Madras along Highway 97 there as a heads up towards Maupin and Duffer. Fire weather warnings for this evening, but also tomorrow evening, because not so much because of lightning tomorrow, the threat should be over, but the winds will be gusty tomorrow, so that can be a problem as well. So for us, cooler right through the holiday weekend. The cooling trend began today, but it really takes it up a notch tonight and tomorrow. The thunderstorms will end tonight, and we shouldn't have any thunderstorm issues tomorrow. 90s are possible again next week, but we get some really great weather through the 4th of July, guys.
Yeah, definitely going to be kicking on my AC in the car on my way home. Thank you so much, Matt. Speaking of hopping into the car, Washington drivers, listen up. Gas in the state just got a little more expensive.
That is because the gas tax jumped 6 cents. Devin Haskins has reaction from Vancouver.
6 cents. It may not sound like a lot, but it already has some thinking of making a change.
We're even considering getting a new vehicle just because of that, possibly a hybrid or electric now. It's just cheaper.
For the first time in 9 years, Washington State increasing its gas tax from 49 cents to 55.
That's a lot, and it's definitely going to impact how often I fill up my car, probably how many trips I take throughout the summer, and which vehicle we decide to take for sure.
And for others, it's less about this hike and more about what feels like a never-ending trend.
I think we're one of the highest in the country, it seems like, and so I'm against any new gas taxes, of course.
California, Washington, and Oregon have some of the highest average gas prices in the United States. According to AAA, Washington's average gallon of gas costs $4.42. Only Hawaii and California are more expensive.
I got buddies down south that are only paying like $2.50, $3. So obviously there's a vast discrepancy between $3 and $4.50, $4.60, and now another 6 cents.
The increase was approved with the passage of Senate Bill 5801, which is estimated to raise more than $1 billion over the next 6 years to address a budget shortfall in the state's transportation budget.
I'm not going to stop driving. That's why they know they can charge more. Nobody is.
And for drivers like Foley Abbott, who remember lower prices a few decades ago,
it was $1.07, $1.08.
The sticker shock hits even harder.
It's going to be Europe in no time. You're going to have to be a baller just to drive.
And this won't be the final increase, because starting next year, Washington State will implement a 2% increase on the gas tax, and that is tied to inflation. That starts July 1st, 2026. In Vancouver, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.